What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today I come to you with wonderful news. You see, there has been, well, let's be honest, there's been a little bit of a problem with the One Piece magazine. Specifically, the newest issue of the One Piece magazine. And the reason there has been an issue with the newest issue of the One Piece magazine is because it's had, and I do feel like I can say this with a high degree of certainty at this point, maybe the best One Piece TCG promo we've had. And I don't say that lightly. There are many awesome One Piece TCG promos of which I am a huge fan. By now, you've probably realized that I am not just some casual One Piece fan or a casual card game fan. So when we get these ridiculous promos, I am rushing as much as any of you guys to go and get this, I promise you. But the thing that made this particularly cool was that it was the promo that essentially was the cover of the first issue of the One Piece magazine. So the newest issue of the One Piece magazine, issue 20, has a promo card, and it is just the first issue. Simple as that. Now, I do actually pick up the One Piece magazine every month. It has become more and more annoying lately because it tends to come with promo cards more often than not. Not all the time, but more often than not. And I'm starting to pick up some back issues. I hope I get them all in time. But the first issue of this has become mildly iconic because it's the first issue of what has turned into a pretty long-running magazine. And they just reprinted that as a promo card. But it's so much better than that. Because it's things like, have a look at the card next to the magazine. And actually, it started at 21 Luffy. So let's throw all three of these up side by side by side. They have taken the text of the card, but instead of putting it across the middle bottom third, like they would on a regular card, they've put it where the writing was on the cover of the magazine. So it looks more like a cover of a magazine than it does a TCG card, and I just think that's such wonderful little detail here. It is one of the very coolest cards they've ever done. And sure, they've had to kind of replace the little wanted poster with a One Piece TCG logo, and they've had to add the name of the card at the bottom and the cost and the power at the top. I get all of this, right? But they have done as much as they can to make this look as similar as they can to the actual cover of the inaugural edition of the magazine. And I just think this is absolutely phenomenal and stunning and wonderful. I am not the only person that thinks this is stunning and wonderful. How do I know that? Because this sold out quick. Now, I got my pre-order in on Amazon Japan the day it went up. I was actually in Disneyland, of all things, just before the Pokemon World Championships when this got announced. So I went on Amazon Japan in Disneyland and got my pre-order in for the magazine because I wasn't going to miss this one. And as a side note, there is sometimes when these magazines go up on Amazon Japan, especially the early listings where they're all in Japanese and they don't have an image of the cover or any of that, yes, they can be awkward to order if you don't read Japanese, but they are actually generally pretty easy to get for a few days before it gets a little bit silly. Well, it sold out, and then it went and released, and apparently on release day in Japan, it sold out fast. And generally, when these things sell out, they don't tend to come back. They're magazines, right? So they sell out, and then it's like, yeah, we don't need these back, that's fine. Well, an exception appears to have been made, because an announcement went out this morning over on the official Twitter saying this: regarding One Piece Magazine special feature Weekly Shonen Jump and One Piece 020, that's the issue of the magazine. No, it's not got an easy name. It has been decided to reprint it. The release date is the 5th of November. Remember, the 5th of November. please refrain from inquiring about stock arrival at bookstores. Basically, it sold out super quickly. We're reprinting it because it sold out super quickly. We know you want the promo card. We're making it more available. Please stop bugging bookstores. They've got work to be getting on with. They don't want to be answering the same question every 5 minutes. And I think if you're over in Japan right now and you're operating a bookstore where you sell this kind of magazine, you're probably getting pretty regular inquiries. Yeah. Honestly, this makes perfect sense. Because here's the thing, right? Let's go over onto eBay right now and just have a look at what's going on with the price over there. Yeah, this magazine is absurd. Well, this promo is absurd. Absolutely absurd. Like, have a look at this little run here. We've got the card, 83 sold at $70. $90 52 sold, and $80 188 sold. Oh yeah, and in the middle there we got a magazine selling for $116. That is just absurd. Like $20-$30 for a magazine promo is generally a bit ridiculous, because Japan does have a bunch of magazine promos. $90? No. And the thing is, like I say, I got my order in nice and quickly. It is sitting in my... It's sitting... It's not actually been sent to me yet, but I use a proxy address over in Japan, and it's been delivered, and it's sitting there kind of waiting to be sent out to me. Got delivered 9 days ago. Need to actually get that forwarded on. But, like, this retail's pretty cheap. Like, I can't remember the exact retail price that this is, but it's somewhere around like 2,000 yen, something along those lines. So the magazine, including the promo card, if you pick it up in Japan, is somewhere around $13. And people are paying 90 over on eBay. If we have a look at the last few solds, they're not all this ridiculous. But let's be clear, some of them are. Like the last 3 solds were 85, 80, and 60. So, yes, some have sold for 90. I literally proved that a minute ago. No, they're not all selling for 90. It's not a $90 or bust kind of card. But 60 to 90 bucks is what this is going for. Hey, Wassy, you going to sell yours? No! Partly because the whole point of this video is telling you about the reprint, and the whole point of the reprint is bringing down the price. And partly because... Come on, it's one of the coolest promos ever. I am not parting with this promo. This is going in my particularly awesome One Piece folder, and there it's going to live until, I don't know, in a few decades' time, hopefully. My kids are going to find something to do with it. Until then, mine, ladies and gentlemen, mine. So 2 questions, I think, remain with this. Firstly, was this a mistake? Nah. There's an argument that it was a mistake. There's an argument that the promo is really, really awesome, and then you add in the price that it's got to so quickly, and maybe they shouldn't have done this, but Japan does magazine promos all the time. Like, it wasn't that long ago that we had the girl promo that came around in the One Piece magazine over in Japan, and frankly, that one is just pretty standard. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that that is a super duper cheap card, but that one's selling at like $30 on eBay all day long. Yes, I have this card. Yes, it's amazing. No, I'm not going to part with it. It's $30, and bearing in mind, you know, $13-ish for the magazine, then you've got to get it sent over from Japan and all of that. So honestly, $30 for a promo like this that came in a magazine over in Japan, that's a reasonable kind of price. This just happened to be a particularly cool promo that went and ballooned, and the problem is when it starts ballooning, it does tend to carry on. The other question is, are we getting this in English? Yeah, probably. Like, there was one promo, the Shonen Jump promo, which was very similar to this, in fact, where it was basically just an old cover of Shonen Jump, then made into a promo. And that was one where I turned around and I was like, oh, they're never going to print that in English. It doesn't make sense to print this in English. it's just a Shonen Jump magazine cover, and we don't get Shonen Jump in the West. At least not like they do in Japan. There's like an app and all of that. But the point is, we don't get it like they do over in Japan. So there was no reason to get this card. This card made no sense. And yet that card ended up coming over here as a promo. So now that we got that card, I just don't tend to question it anymore, honestly. If that card can get printed in English, despite making no real sense because it's a cover of Shonen Jump, then this new Luffy, which is just a cover of the One Piece magazine, can get printed in English, and that makes perfect sense as well. It's weird, and it's a reprint, and I don't think we need it, incidentally, but that doesn't really matter, because we've got weird promos that look like they were going to be Japanese exclusives before. I think it's fair to assume that that might happen again. Either way, I've told you everything you need to know about this card. I've told you about the reprint. I have told you everything you need to know. So now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this in the comment section. Tell me if you've picked it up. Tell me if you're waiting for the reprint. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.